So welcome. Let's see. All right. Let me see. Happy what Friday on this beautiful, glorious day. It's just another day. Uh, I am monitoring. Be aware that I am monitoring the chat. So if you have questions, just feel free to type it there, or feel free to unmute yourself. The questions should get through. If there aren't any burning questions, once you gain access into my Zoom, that gives you attendance credit. And I think we're just going to go ahead and pick up where we left off last time. And one other thing I want to mention is that I do intend to use Alex for the lab portion of our grade. That's going to be 10% of our grade. So being a student with the school, you should already have an Alex account. If you need help with that, just let me know, and I will point you in the direction where you need to go to get that set up. But you should already have an Alex account. And so I just ask that you, wherever you left off in your Alex, just keep going. Just continue wherever you left off. I think the class does run from 5 to 5:50 today. I know the times are a little bit weird. Like Monday and Friday is 5 to 5:50, and like Tuesday, Thursday is like 5:15 to 6:30. So it's a little bit like a little bit confusing, but it's okay. But yeah, so with Alex, most people need to be doing about 55 topics per week. If you are pre-calculus, prep for pre-calculus or higher, if you prep for pre-calculus or higher, then you need to be doing about 40 topics per week. And if you're prep for calculus or higher, you need to be doing about, I think it was like 35 topics per week. But everybody else needs to be doing about 55 topics per week. Is the goal with Alex is that by the end of the semester, everybody's at the level of prep for college algebra by the end of the semester. Okay. So yeah. So that is the deal with Alex. If you're just joining, you're just going to have to get caught up. We're going to kind of continue where we left off last time. So let me make sure I'm showing that here. We're going to hop over to Pearson and just kind of pick up where we left off last time. So we only have like 5 questions left in this. And when we're done with this, we can work on the quiz. And I mean, we have other things that we could work on as well. But, and we can take this time for class to kind of answer any questions that you may have. That's really what this time is for. It's just for us to kind of check in. If you have questions, we can get them answered and like work on it together in some form or fashion. And then otherwise, it is what it is. Okay, so let me give myself a little bit of space. Ooh, good chaka. Let me see who we got here. Not that one. Okay, let me go ahead and let this student in. Boom, got a credit, admit, and we can close these windows. Can we just hop back over? Okay, let's close them. All right, so this one asks us to determine the center and the radius of the circle described by the equation. All right, so let's kind of, because I may or may not have mentioned this in my lecture, so I'm going to kind of talk about it now a little bit. So let me start here. Let me go to paper. Let me give myself, I like to write on graph paper. Okay. So this comes from section 1.1, graphs of equations. Okay, so I'm just taking some notes and I'll share my notes with you once I'm done. Graphs of equations. And if you're just joining us, the thing I said right before you came in was the lab portion of our grade, which is going to be 10% of our grade, that's going to come from Alex. So as being a student of our school, you should already have an Alex account. So just continue where you left off. Most students should be doing 55 topics per week. The goal of Alex is that by the end of the semester, you're at the level of prep for college algebra or higher. If you're higher than prep for college algebra on Alex, then you can do less. My colleague is she usually sends me a weekly report on where people are. Okay. So let me finish taking these notes. So this comes from section 1.1, graphs of equations. And this is question number 15. Let's see, it comes from section 1.1, question 49. It says the center, I'll put question mark, and radius, question mark, okay? And so we have this x plus 6. I guess I don't really have that much that we need to say here. X plus 6 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 4, right? So let's hop over to the tablet. It's here. Okay. So, general, I think it's a standard form of the equation of a circle, or general form. I think it's a standard form, but it's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where h comma k, first it has to be in this form that you see in blue, and then where h of k is going to be the center of the circle. Center of the circle, right? And we can. Let's just go ahead and do it like this. Oh, I don't know what it did there. That's better. This is good to know I can do a polygon. Anyway, h comma k is going to be the center of our circle, and then r is going to be the radius of our circle. It's going to be basically be the radius, right? So let's get what we were given into the proper form. Let me let this student in real quick. Let's see. I feel like I'm worked out all the kinks. Uh-oh. I think that student, let me let him in and speak with him. So I'm gonna just let him know. Oh, I see him now. Never mind. I couldn't find him on my roster, but then I found him. Okay. So we're given this x plus 6. Let's get it into the proper form, right? So we're going to rewrite it as x minus a negative 6 quantity squared. The y is already in the proper form, y minus 4 squared. And the radius is going to be 2 squared, right? So now that it's in this form, we can identify the center and the radius, right? So the center of the circle, center, which is our h comma k, that's going to be what? Negative 6 comma 4 in this case. And the radius, which is our r in this case, is going to be 2. Okay. I mean, and we could actually check this. It might be a little bit of a pain because we would have to solve for y. At least the way I was going to do. I was going to put it in my graphing calculator, but I don't feel like solving for y. I mean, it doesn't take that much effort, but I'm just gonna hop back over to Pearson. Okay, that looks good right here. So determine the center and the radius. So our claim is that the center is negative 6 comma 4 parentheses negative 6 comma 4. Awesome sauce. And then the radius, we said was 2. Okay. Keep in mind, I am monitoring the chat, or feel free to unmute yourself if you have questions. I didn't see any questions in the chat, so I'm going to go on to the next question. Find the standard form. So that was a standard form that we were working with last time. Find the standard form of the equation of the circle that satisfies the given conditions. Okay. So let me take some notes here. So this is question number 16. Okay, that's fine. It comes from section 1.1, question 51. Standard form. So it says find the standard form of the equation of the circle. That's fine. We have that the center is negative 1 comma 0, and the radius is 5. Okay, let's hop back over to the tablet, which is here. All right, and we can get rid of this. Okay. So here are the notes on that question that we just took. All right. So the standard form of the equation of a circle, it takes on the form, it's going to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, right? So we can just plug in these items. So we're going to have our x minus, we're going to plug in for h. Whenever we plug in, my recommendation is to use a blank set of parentheses to plug in. That helps to keep track of our negatives. So we're less likely to make a mistake. Okay. So our h in this case is going to be negative 1, our k is 0, and our r is 5. Let me choose a different color. I'm going to go orange for these guys. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So you can see how we applied them. And let me do one more thing. Let's go like that one. We want orange, this one, and that one. Oh, shyster. Let's try that again. That one and that one. Style. We want orange. Oh, I missed one. That's okay. Okay. Okay, so you can see how we did our substitutions. I will probably go ahead and take the time. I know I need to load our notes from this week, whatever we've been writing. I just got to finish updating Blackboard. I think initially I just updated Blackboard with like pertinent information, like things that I know were sensitive that you needed to kind of get going, and I'll just finish updating it soon shortly. Okay, so then if we just simplify it, double negative, that becomes x plus 1 squared plus y squared equals 25. Okay, so this is what we're going to go with. Like that. Okay. Let me, yeah, that's what I need. Let's hop back over to Pearson, like this one. Standard form. Okay. So we got double parentheses, x plus 1 squared plus y squared equals 25. Let's see, how do we do? Okay. Let me check the chat real quick to see if there are any questions there. Okay, we're looking good. All right, on to the next one. Oh, second part of the question. Then graph the equation, right? So we said the center was negative 1, 0. So it doesn't look like it could be A. It could be either B or C because the other centers are not in the right place. And then the radius needs to be 5. So the radius in C is not correct, right? So it had to be B. It looks like they have the answer. I think that's a glitch with this system. I think they do make the answers like big like that. So I think it's just a glitch, but I don't know if that always works or not, but I think that is one of the glitches. Anyway, on to the next one. I find an equation of a circle with that center tangent touching at one point to the y-axis. Okay. So that tells us the radius, right? Let me take some notes and let me see if I can paint a picture here. So this is question number 17. Let's see. This comes from 1153. Okay. Find the equation of the circle with center -9, 8. Now we definitely are missing some people. Oh no. That's gonna be trouble. All I ask is just check in. That's all I need you to do. Just check in, make your presence known, and then you can keep moving. I don't make a big deal about the other stuff, but I can't have you guys like skipping by class. You just need to at least check in. But that's okay. So find the equation of a circle with this center and tangent or touching at one point to the axis. Okay, I'm going to say tangent. That means touching at one point. Touching at one point to the y-axis. To the y-axis. You know, and so like if you've been following along, like we've been pretty much working on this throughout the week, right? It's only one section. You see the rhythm that we're going, and we've met 4 days. Like even if you did it during class time, that's totally okay. Because when you work yours, it's going to be the same questions with different numbers, right? You can kind of follow along. My recommendation is to get as far ahead as you can. But yeah. Okay. So, and we're given negative. Okay, I think that's it, right? So let's hop back over to the tablet and see what it's looking like. All right. So I'm just going to do a rough sketch, right? So say, let me see. I'm just going to do a rough sketch. So -9 and 8 is about here, right? So that means the x-axis here this is -9, and the y value here is 8, right? So if it's a circle where the center and its tangent to the y-axis, that means it touches this point, right? So that means that this blue part here, that's going to be our radius of the circle. Right, so now it should be clear what r is. It should be the case that r should be 8. Tangent, oh, wait. I did the x-axis. Back up. So instead of r being 8, right, if it's going to be tangent to the y-axis, it's going to cross like this. Make a point there. So that means the radius, our r is 9. Right, tangent to the y-axis, right? So we can make a circle. It's going to touch the y-axis at one point like that. I think we're good to go. So now we have the center and the radius, so then we can find the equation of a circle. Again, one of my mentors will say every time you use a formula, write it down. Again, the standard form of a circle, I would add this to my formula sheet. It's going to be the y, it's going to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, right? Okay. So it looks like we're going to have our h squared, our k squared, and our r squared, right? So our h in this case, the center is -9. Our k is 8, and the radius, so yeah, it looks like it's 9. Okay, so we're going to say 9. I think I just wanted the equation circle. Let me go ahead and do one more step, simplify these numbers. So we get x plus 9 squared plus y minus 8 squared equals, I think it's 81. Okay. All right. Okay, let's hop here and see how do we do. So we got 81, so it has to be either A or C. And then plus 9 and minus 8, plus 9 and minus 8. So we're going to go A. Okay. Let me check the chat. Well, see if there are any questions. Okay, looks good. With the diameter whose endpoints are these, find the equation of a circle with a diameter who has these endpoints. Okay. This is number 18. Let me see the time. Yeah, we only got 30 minutes. See, it's like Mondays and Fridays are real quick. Like in a blink of an eye, it's over, right? Let's go number 18. This comes from section 1-1, question 55. Let's see, find the equation of the circle whose diameter has endpoints. We got 5 comma -5, and we have -3 comma -5. So this is what I like to call a loaded question, because you have to apply several concepts. Let's hop over to the tablet. You have to apply several concepts to do it, right? So let me see. Up 5, let me see. Right 5 and down, back and down, right? So I'm just going to just plot these points. I'm not going to put it on a coordinate plane, but say this was the point 5 comma -5. It looks like they're on the same horizontal line or whatever. And if we went back 3 and down 5, we would have another one somewhere like over here to the left, right? This would be -3 comma -5, right? So this would be our diameter. How many bars did I do? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So then 8, 2, 4, 6. So this would be the center, right? So we want to find the coordinates of the center there. That would be the center of the circle. So I think we I think we have talked about midpoint, but basically this is asking us to find the midpoint of the line segment, right? So here's another formula. If you don't already have it in your formula sheet, you definitely would want to add this one to your formula sheet. Midpoint. So the midpoint formula I'm going to do is capital M. Basically, it's going to be the average of the x's, comma, average of the y's. So then x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2, right? So then usually when I have ordered pairs, I just like to go x1, y1, x2, y2, okay? So then this is going to be -3 plus 5 over 2, comma, -5 plus -5 over 2, okay? So then the midpoint is going to be, what is that, 1? The first one becomes 1, negative 10, so that's negative, negative 5. Okay. So the coordinates of this point should be 1 comma negative 5. That should be our h comma k. All right. The x's, since it's on a horizontal line, 5 minus negative 3. What is that? 8. Is that right? It has a distance of 8. So then the radius should be 4. Now we could find the distance. We can use the distance formula. I guess this would be a good opportunity to practice our distance formula, right? So what I'm going to do, in case I made a mistake when I found that center, in case that 1 comma negative 5 is incorrect, I'm going to find the distance between the original points given and then just cut it in half, right? So let's just do a quick demo on the distance formula. Again, if you don't have this one in your formula sheet, this is a good one to have. Go ahead and have in there. The distance between 2 points P and Q is going to be the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, okay? So let's just apply, I just want to use the original points that were given. So let me see, x2, I'm going to say what, 5 minus negative 3? 5 minus negative 3 squared plus negative 5 minus negative 5. Negative 5 minus negative 5 squared, okay? So then that becomes 8. Let me see, it's going to be the square root of 8 squared. I think that term goes to 0. This goes to 0, okay? So then the square root of 8 squared is just going to be 8. And then we said we need to divide it by 2. So that means our radius is going to be the diameter divided by 2. So that's going to be 8 over 2. So our radius should be 4. Okay. So I think we asked to find the equation of the circle. Let's bring all this together. So we have our center, which is our h comma k. We have that as 1 comma negative 5. And then our radius we have is 4. Okay. All right. So let's use the general form of equation of a circle. Let's see. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Okay. So that's going to be x minus 1 squared plus y minus, it's going to become a double negative, so it's become y plus 5 squared equals 16. Okay. I didn't go through all the details like I did before because you should be able to catch those changes at this point. Okay. So keep in mind, because this is being streamed, it is a recording, you could always go back, pause, rewind, slow down, chop screws, do what you need to do. You know. Okay. Let me see. How can we check? Let me see if we can see. It's a little bit of a stretch to see the whole thing. Whose diameter has endpoints. So what we can do is, well, we could verify that those points are on this circle. I don't feel like doing all that, but you can plug in, like, when x is 5 and y is negative 5, we should get 16. When x is negative 3, y is negative 5, we should get 16. I'm just gonna plug it into Pearson just because we can. All right. So let's go here, and like this. So we got a 16, so it has to be either A or C. And then minus 1 and plus 5. Okay. It always feels good when you do all that work and then there's multiple choice and you see your answer there. Even if it's wrong, I do feel some way when I can see whatever it is that I did and it matches one of the answers. I feel a sigh of relief. Okay. Let me check the chat. That was a little intense, so I don't know. Okay. The lecture recordings. So these are on my YouTube channel, Beautiful Mind Pfeiffer. So if you just went to YouTube, I think if you go to Blackboard, there's a link there as well on our Blackboard channel. But it's just this is being streamed to my YouTube channel, which is Beautiful Mind Pfeiffer, my last name. And it's just a very basic channel. I need to start actually put some effort into it. I haven't really put any effort into it. I was just I just created a channel because people I follow suggested doing it, and it's like you need to have a channel. I was like, okay, um, yeah, it needs a lot of work, but yeah, you can find a link on our Blackboard page, or just go to YouTube and search for Beautiful Mind Pfeiffer. All right, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and do what you need to do. All right, shameless plug. Okay, let me see. We only got two more in this section. 25 minutes. We're okay. All right. So I think sometimes we will probably have some downtime. Okay, so like if we finish this, then we do have a quiz that we can work on, and we can just try the quiz to see how well we can do. This is question number 19. This comes from section 1157. Now maybe, I don't want to do that. No, I don't know. We'll see. It says find the center and the radius of the circle. So it says it asks us to find the center and radius of the circle. Okay. Now we're given this x squared plus y squared minus 6x plus 4y plus 9 equal to 0. Okay, let's hop over to the tablet because we definitely gonna have to take notes here. Like that. Boom. All right. So with this one, we want to transform, I think this is the general form. We want to transform it into the standard form, right? So to do this, we have to use a factoring technique called, this is completing the square, right? So again, for college algebra, we do expect you to already be comfortable with factoring. If you're not comfortable with factoring, let me know. I already plan to make these materials available to you guys, but I can, directly point you to where you need to go to get some additional help. Alex is supposed to help with the factoring. I have like an entire chapter devoted specifically to factoring. I think I'd rather work on factoring if we finish early. So I might pull up that document and try to incorporate it into this presentation. But I think we're almost done. Um, but yeah, oftentimes students in college algebra struggle. I mean, because it's just not natural, right? And you only get practice in it like for a little bit. So, you know, but we can, because of the setup of our class, we can actually get some added practice. Also, if you are joining late, the lab portion of our grade is going to come from Alex. Being a student in the school, you should already have an Alex account. And so the intent is, most students should be doing about 55 topics per week. The goal is so that by the end of the semester, you can be at the level of prep for college algebra or higher, right? If you're already higher than prep for college algebra, like if you're at the prep for pre-cal, then you only need to do about 40 topics per week. And if you're at prep for like I think it's calculus or something like that, you only need to do about 25 topics per week. But again, the intent is that everybody by the end of the semester needs to be at the level of prep for college algebra. If you need help accessing Alex, let me know, and I'll point you towards my colleague who usually runs that. And like what she does, she usually sends me like a weekly report of who does what, and I just use it to calculate a lab grade. It's 10% of our grade, right? Okay. So looking at this guy, right? We need to transform it into standard form. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to group my x's together and group the y's together, and I'm going to move that constant to the other side of the equal sign, right? So what I mean by that, I'm going to let's just do it. Okay. So we have this x squared. It's going to be minus 6x. I'm going to leave some space because I'm going to introduce another term. Remember, I'm using the technique of completing the square. So then we're going to have plus y squared plus 4y. Now, if I move that 9 to the right side of the equal sign, I'm going to subtract 9 on both sides. So it's going to become a minus 9 over here. All right. So completing the square is going to be, you have to add b over 2 squared to both sides of the equal sign, right? So the b for the first part is going to be the negative 6. So we're going to say plus negative 6 over 2 squared. That's our b over 2, right? And we're going to do the same thing. I'm kind of running out of space, so I'm going to just put it like here. Plus the negative 6 over 2 squared. And then for the y component, the b is 4. So I'm going to say plus 4 over 2 squared. Okay. So then, I guess I could do that. Let's do this real quick. Shrink this down. Okay, then I'm gonna just put it back. That looks good. Okay. So if we simplify these numbers, we'll get x squared minus 6x. What is that? Negative 2. Negative 6 divided by 2 is what? Negative 3. So that's going to be 9. So that's really plus 9. And this is plus 9. Okay. The y squared comes down. The 4y comes down. Next is this orange guy. That's going to be 4, right? 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 2 squared is 4. So we said plus 4 and plus 4. And then the equal sign comes down, and this negative 9 comes down. Okay. Notice these they add up to 0. Okay. Now, if we look at the first 3 terms, right? If we group those first 3 terms together, they can be factored. This is the whole reason why we're doing completing the square. Because now, if we just look at those 3 by themselves, they can be factored, right? So I'm just going to jump to the answer. Long story short, it's going to look something like this. 2 numbers that multiply to give us 9 and add to give us negative 6. I think it's negative 3 and negative 3. So that factors into x. Let's do it this way. X minus 3 squared, right? Similarly, for the y term, if we look at these 3 together, 2 numbers that multiply to give us 4 and add to give us 4 are plus 2 and plus 2. So then those 3 terms factor into y, those what, plus 2? Because 2 times 2 is 4 and 2 plus 2 is 4. So y plus 2 squared. Again, this technique is called completing the square. Right? And then on the right-hand side, well, if we're going to do r squared, what do we find the center and the radius? Okay, so we're going to say 2 squared, right? So then the center, our h comma k, we're going to have to make one more adjustment. Our h comma k is going to be, I think it's 3 and negative 2. And our radius is 2. I feel like this is right? Because remember, the standard form has to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared, right? So they have to be minus, right? Okay, I'm going to go style. Let's see, how do we do here? Okay, I know this is a little intense. With it being remote, I mean, you just have to do the best you can, you know, because even when we're in person, students, I can still see the like glassy-eyed look on the students' eyes because there's a lot. It's intense, and I know I talk a little fast. You know, there's a rapper. What is this? 50 Cent. I'm not talking fast. You just listen slow. I think he said something like that. But yeah, I know it's intense. Like, and so that's why I encourage you all to work together. I don't really care how you get it, just as long as you get it. Like if that means listening to my thing or just ignoring my thing and like listening to Pearson or getting a tutor. But keep in mind, you've already paid for tutors. Being a student with the school, the tutors are included in your tuition. So just reach out and we can connect you with the tutors as well. And a lot of times when the students are closer in age, for some reason the communication is just better. When I can say the same thing and it's just like, huh? Like it's an intimidation factor. But when you have somebody you don't feel so intimidated, it seems like the communication is just easier. Like you can just speak naturally and it just gets through a lot easier. I don't know the merit to all of that, but it is important to have multiple perspectives because again, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience like everybody else, right? So what that means is that I make mistakes. So you don't want to get it all from one source, especially if I'm making mistakes, which, you know, my mistakes should be minimal, but, you know. The center, okay, we got 3 comma negative 2. But yeah, that's why I encourage you all. Like, I think you started a group me last time. I think that's a great idea. Just get it done. You know what I mean? Because I know my information can be very detailed and it can be overwhelming, but then I know sometimes your classmates will be like, look, you can just ignore all of that and just do this and you'll be fine. And then, like, because y'all know what you need to cut out in order to get it to work. Because that's what I did when I was a student, like, and it worked for me. Let me check the chat really quickly. But can I be added to the group me? Yeah, you'd have to contact your classmates for that. So I guess I felt the question coming. My spidey senses were tingling. So yeah, hopefully somebody. You should be able to reach your like email your students. Like I think if you went to Blackboard, you can email them each other. I think in this thing you can private message each other. So yeah, but you'd have to talk to your classmates for that because they organize that. Let me see the time. If we get out at 50, 45, so we got about 15 minutes. Um, I think I'm gonna just do one more, see how we feel. I'm really trying to honor the time. I don't really want to let you guys go because I feel like because we can do work from home. I was like, well, let me at least try to honor the time. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to give them an inch, take a mile kind of thing. Because then it can get a little bit out of hand. Because then I'll start getting lazy. Anyway, like I'll start being irresponsible, and that's not cool. All right, let's go 1.159. It's kind of expected of students, but as the quote unquote adult, adulting, I hate adulting. I mean, it's fun, but sometimes it's exhausting. It's a pain, like bills and feeding yourself and exercise and yeah. Okay, I'll let y'all work that out. Okay, so question 20 comes from section 1159. Answer the following questions. Find the center and the radius of the circle, and then find the x and y intercepts of the graph of the circle. Okay, got a little bit of fun. Let's have some fun. All right, boom. All right. So this comes from section 1159. So I'm going to say part A is, let's go like this. Part A, find the center and the radius. So it says find the center and the radius. Okay, I'm just going to write of the circle. Okay, so I see how that works. It just pops that up like that. Okay, I'm going to let that be. Find the center and the radius of the circle, and then part B asks us to find the x and y intercepts of the graph of the circle. I'm just going to say find the find the x and y intercepts. Intercepts of the circle. Okay, and we're given 3x squared. Ooh, somebody is mega ultra late. Oh no, let's see what's going on. Was he here earlier? He was not. He got in here. I'll be kind of lax today. All right, welcome. Okay, so let me go ahead and say this. So like we do have to. I do my best to honor time. Like today, I think class started at 5. I went on to give you full attendance credit for today because you made it in. I do notice I have a good amount of people missing. I might like if I notice that either people are either coming to class late or not showing up. I might start to invoke a 15-minute rule. Like okay, after 15 minutes, then you get like okay. So the way I usually do it, if class starts at 5, right? When I go to take attendance, when I do that first pass about 5 o'clock, then you get full credit. And then from 5 to 5:15, if you show up, that's late, right? So you kind of need to. I usually try to get on like right before 5. But usually, if you show up between 5 to 5:15, I usually mark that as late, so it is a little bit of a point reduction. And then after 5:15 or after the first 15 minutes of class, I usually don't give. I'll let you in, but I usually don't give attendance credit for that. So first week, not going to make a big deal about it right now. Especially if students are just coming and being here. Again, all you really got to do is check in. Just kind of be aware of the time, check in, and if you're busy, I totally get it. Get your attendance credit and keep it moving. But yeah, all these sessions are being recorded. But again, today, I'd be kind of lax on attendance. But I just wanted to kind of say that, just to be saying it, to set the tone. But yeah, for today, I went on to give you full attendance credits. Not a big deal, but I just had to set the tone. And I got to track down these other students. I was like, okay, guys, come on. But it's okay, because we're about to wrap up. But it's all good. Because we got, I want to keep you from no more than about 5 more minutes. I'm going to finish out this example, but welcome. We're glad to see you, the virtual you, and whatever level we can see you. I'm glad you're here, though. I actually do have some students, when I was teaching at Morehouse. Man, it was wild. We had a graduation and they had an empty chair, and I'm looking. I was like, "Oh crap, that was my student." Like I had just seen him a couple of months before the graduation, and like I think he got hit by a car or like a stray bullet. He wasn't even involved. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was like, man, that kind of hurt. Just snuffed out just like that. I was like, but then, it's life, and I think our mortality is what makes life worth living. Because if we were immortal, then I mean, don't get me started in that. Because if you ask me, we are immortal. Once you kind of get past, you abandon your physical form and you start to get in tune with your spiritual form, then you realize that you've done this countless times, and apparently we don't remember. And but that's not my official. That's not my place to say. That's just my personal how I feel about it. I'm not an authority on that one. That's just how I feel about it. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, only changed. And there's so many scientific studies that show that consciousness can exist outside the body. Like they're like how do you explain when people have a coma? They speak English and they come out of the coma. Next thing you know, they're speaking like fluent French. They never study French or anything. Like, how does that happen? We can't find any evidence of consciousness inside the body, even though we all have this inner body experience. So if we can't find evidence of us being in the body, more than likely we're not even in our body. We just think that we are. So don't get me started on all that, because I will launch, and I will back it all with science. Stuff I usually say is usually backed with some kind of experiments or, firsthand accounts and this, that, and the other. So anyway, like I said earlier, I'm a spiritual being having a human experience like everybody else. Okay, let's hop back over to the tablet. Let's get you brothers out of here. I don't know if we have a sister in the class or not. I saw a name. I wasn't sure. Usually has a different email address though. Anyway, but times are changing. So find the x. Okay, so let's see. Find the center and the radius. So this one again looks like we need to do completing the square. Let me think about this for a moment. Oh, I'm trying to get you guys out of here. Okay, so we need to do completing the square again. I'm trying to think, because the first move I want to make, I'm a little bit leery about it. Give me a moment. Okay, so I'm going to do this. It might mess up. I'm just going to do it because this is the first thing, and this to me this will be the more simple route if it works, right? I was debating between factoring out a 3 or just dividing both sides by 3. I'm just going to go ahead and divide every term by 3, right? Hopefully that doesn't mess us up. If it does, we'll go back and fix it. So I'm going to divide every term by 3, right? So if we do this, because when you do completing the square, the first thing is that the leading coefficient has to be at 1, right? Usually we factor it out, but I want to do this just to see if it works, right? Hopefully this will be quick and we can save ourselves a lot of headache. This is going to turn into, what is that, an 8? And that goes to 0. Okay, let's account for these changes. Hopefully this doesn't mess us up. X squared plus y squared. Oh, okay. Plus 8y equals 0. So the x squared term, we can leave it because there's no like degree 1 form of x, so we can leave that one. But we need to do completing the square on that y term. So if we say the b over 2 squared, so that's going to be plus 8 over 2 squared added to both sides. Okay. So then the x squared comes down, the y squared comes down, 8y comes down. 8 divided by 2 is 4, squared is 16. Okay, I'm a little rushed because I'm trying to get you guys, I'm trying to honor the time. 16, right? We don't need that plus. 16, okay? So then with the first term, it's already kind of in the form, it's going to be x minus 0 squared, so that'll kind of help you to see that one. The second one, if we group these 3 terms together, 2 numbers that multiply to give us 16 and add to give us 8 are 4 and 4, right? So we're going to say y plus 4 squared. Let me kind of keep the colors consistent. Style. Okay. And then the 16. That's going to be what? 4 squared. Okay. So then it looks like the center, our h comma k, looks like it's going to be 0 comma negative 4, and the radius looks like it's going to be 4. Okay, so that looks like the solution to part A. We're almost there. I'm trying to get you guys out of here. Sometimes I do get a little bit stumped rushing. Let me go ahead and label this as part A. And then part B, and again, all the stuff that you see me writing, I'll make a PDF. I usually make PDFs available. I need to go ahead and finish setting it up because usually I make it available right when class ends, so there's no delay. I just got to finish setting it up. Find the x and y intercepts of the circle. Okay, so we have the equation. So let me get another copy. So we got this x squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 4 squared. Okay. So then let me do the y-intercept first. I feel like the y-intercept is often easier than the x-intercept. In order to do the y-intercept, we set x equal to 0 and solve, or solve, right? So if we set x to 0, that's going to be 0 squared plus we're going to have this y plus 4 squared equals what, 16. So then we're going to have y plus 4 squared equals 16, square root on both sides. So now, yeah. So when we introduce square root, there's a symbol that we need to be aware of, right? When we do square root, whenever we take an even root, we have to introduce the symbol plus or minus, right? So then this cancels this. On the left, we have y plus 4. On the right, we have, what is that, plus or minus 4. Subtract 4 on both sides. Negative 4 plus or minus 4, right? So the y-intercepts are going to be negative 8 and looks like 0. So it looks like it crosses the y-axis at negative 8 and 0, okay? And then for the x-intercepts, I think we were doing x-intercepts in green before. For the x-intercepts, we set y equal to 0, okay? So we're going to have, there it is. So we're going to have x squared plus 0 plus 4 squared equals 16. 16, okay. So then that's going to give us x squared plus 16 equals 16. It looks like x squared equals 0. Looks like x equals 0. So it looks like it crosses the x-axis at one point at the origin. Okay. So it looks like we got our y-intercepts here. Okay. And we got our x-intercept here. Okay, let's check this real quick. We're just going to check it in Pearson for the sake of time. Once it's correct, I'll check questions. If there aren't any questions, we'll call it a day. Let's hop over to Pearson really quickly. Here, okay. All right, what's the center? What is the center of the circle? So if I go back to part A, we put 0. Yeah, that makes sense. 0, negative 4, parentheses, 0, comma, negative 4. Oh, what did I type? 0, comma, negative 4. Okay. Awesome sauce. The radius we said is 4. Stop. 4. It's the time. Oh, on the money. Okay. X-intercept. We got an x-intercept of 0. Ordered pair. So then the origin, 0, comma 0. Okay. And the y-intercepts, ordered pair separated by a comma. Okay. 0, negative 8. And the origin. Okay. Awesome sauce. I think that's it. Okay, let me check the chat really quickly. Let's go paper like this. Gonna hop like that. Let's put this back. Boom, there. And let me check the chat. Okay. So I think y'all were doing some group me stuff. No real announcements other than just be sure to kind of be working on Alex. I'm just going to go ahead and make that part of. That's going to be our lab is the Alex grade. It's going to be 10% of our grade. The homework for this week is posted, so we did it throughout the week. It took us 4 days for whatever time our class time was. We did it. There is a quiz there, and you can anticipate an exam the last week of every month, right? So exam one is the last week of February, right? Okay, over I think the first four sections of chapter one. All right. If there aren't any other questions, from one beautiful mind to another, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care, guys. See you Monday. Go ahead. Mm. Yes, sir. I see. Yes. Send me an email saying that so I have it on file. So that way, if anybody's like, yeah, yeah, it's okay. Alex. So when you were like being admitted to Morehouse, it should have you should have like usually they do some placement with Alex. If you don't have an Alex account, I'd have to link you with my colleague, and she'll tell you how to send me an email saying that if you don't know how to access your Alex account, just send me an email and I'm gonna forward it to my colleague and she'll walk you through it. Yeah, it should have been something for like a placement, and you just want to kind of keep working with it. So that's just for our lab. Our homework is in Blackboard. It's what I did is I linked Pearson to our course, and you access it through Blackboard. Yeah, so the Blackboard with Pearson through Blackboard, that's just our homework. So that's our homework, quizzes, and exams. That's how we're gonna do our distant online management. And then Alex is like a separate thing altogether. That was something that Morehouse usually does. It's like for placement. That's going to serve as our lab grade. That's going to be like 10% of our grade. And what happens is my colleague, she usually sends me like a weekly report of like basically what everybody's been doing, and I use that to make a lab grade. Yeah, yeah. I got you on attendance, and so like what I'm gonna do is go through back through the week, and if I didn't hear from a student, then they're gonna be flagged. But as long as you popped up. So the way I'm kind of doing the course, this is going to be asynchronous. What that means is that what I expect is just like every time we meet, just check in, get your attendance. You don't have to stay though. Like if you're busy or whatever, because the lectures are recorded, you could always watch them later. But I do need you guys to just check in. Yeah, I do need everybody to like check in like at the class time, get your attendance credit, and then once you have your attendance credit, you're free to do what you feel like you need to do. And I'm just available. I'm just using class time to like answer questions and work through homework. And our lectures are already pre-recorded, so you can actually get ahead if you want. Like it should be the entire semester. Like everything I wanted to say is already on my YouTube, so you can use that to take notes. And then I'm using class time to just work on homework and answer questions that people ask. Yeah, yep. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, yeah. But let's finish this course. But yeah, like because to me they're not separated. Like you said outside of math, I was like, no, it's the same thing. It's just a different expression. But anyway, don't get me started. Don't get me started. But yeah. Okay, brother. All right. Okay. All right. My pleasure. Take care. You too. Okay. Anybody else? Any other takers before we shut her down? Okay. You guys are awesome. We're going to end the session here, and from one beautiful mind to another, enjoy the rest of your day. Peace. Now, listen to this song. looking at this bottle on my desk. Let me get some water. Go. Drink that water bottle. Gonna have a good time. Living on do something that's fine. I don't know. I just played around. Take care.